Hi, Lulu, compulsive overeater. The next promise we're going to talk about is our experiences have value. And I'm going to read what's in this book. The fourth promise states, no matter how far down the scale we have gone, we see how our experience can benefit others. This promise pointedly reminds sober alcoholics, abstinent compulsive overeaters, to look for similarities, not differences, in fellow AA members. This promise assures us that we belong. We rightfully share a sense of value within society with millions of other recovering addicts. As victims of alcohol, we felt we were less than others. We were full of shame and guilt for what we had become. In our first days in AA, we believed none of those nice, sober people would have anything to do with us if they found out what failures we were. Surprisingly, we learn our sordid past and horrid behavior can help others relate to us. We think, if they can make it, why not me? Beginners are told, keep coming to meetings and you'll hear your story coming out of the mouths of others. Our drunkalogs are never so unique that they won't be topped again and again by fellow alcoholics. The practice of holding nothing back, helps us identify with others, not compare. The caste system and generation gap go out the window in AA. We quickly agree our common welfare comes first. Personal recovery depends on our unity. It becomes almost impossible for a recovering alcoholic to deceive fellow members who already have heard all the lies, cop-outs, and alibis. Denial, the number one symptom of addiction, gets nowhere with a group of recovering alcoholics. One important idea behind this promise is that the realities of drinking will reach not only the helpless, hopeless boozer, but also the high bottom alcoholic who may be struggling to admit he or she even belongs in AA. Relating and identifying will always be keywords in reaching Relating and identifying will always be keywords in reaching a drinking, still suffering alcoholic, because recovering drinkers who tell their past experiences abound with sincerity. Words that come from the heart always reach the hearts of those who need to hear them. And that's the end of that. That was like really, really powerful. As I was reading it, I was like, I wish I had replaced all the alcohol with food addict and AA with OA. But just the same way we translate the big book, we have to consider that us. So, I love that part where it says, they come in all these nice sober people. They're all happy. Everybody's happy. Everybody's knows each other, and everybody's thin, and all these recovered people. And you just come in and you just feel like crap. You look like crap. Oh, I just remember the day I just felt, I went into that OA meeting. I'm picking chocolate out of my teeth before I walked in that door. And just sitting there and just listening to these people, figuring how I was going to belong. I just felt like no matter if I got abstinent, like I was always going to be way behind these people, and I was just constantly comparing myself to people. When in fact, who doesn't identify with a newcomer? Who doesn't love the newcomers that come in? That you watch them, sometimes you watch them and you can see that skepticism in their eyes. They're listening. They're kind of like maybe, they're like half listening. And then there's others that are listening and they're sobbing. Everybody in their time hears the message they need to hear. But whether you come in really kind of wondering if you belong, or if you come in knowing you belong and it brings tears to your eyes, either way, your people, you maybe just don't know it yet. Um, when I came into program, when I was in my 40s, for 3 years, I was abstinent, weighed and measured food for 3 years. I know I've said this 1,000 times, but there's 1,001. Um, I didn't know anybody in the rooms. I didn't know anybody. I would never get up and share. I would I would sit in the back of the room. Nobody would know my name. I knew everybody. I knew everybody. I knew everything about everybody because I listened, found where I was different, and took off and did my diet, you know? Um, but you know something? That experience helps others. I didn't get the miracle and I didn't get the gift at that point in my life. I just didn't get it. I was just on the outside looking in. I was on the outside, like peeking in the window of a life that seemed unattainable. And that experience I have, what did I just say? I just said, I've said this 1,000 times, and here is 1,001. Can you see how it's useful? Can you see how, no matter how far down the scale I had gone, I see how my experience can benefit others? That 3 years that I did in the fringes of this program, uh, very useful experience. I share it all the time. You can maybe do it yourself and see if it works, or you can learn from me and trust me that, like, I've been there, done that. Um, I just know that when you're in it, when you get in it to win it. I knew when I came back the second time, I was going to do it exactly how everybody was suggesting. Imagine that. Like, what is it, Holland, that always says, I think I'm going to listen to somebody else for the first time in my life. I love how he says that. And, it was Harlan's podcasts. I couldn't get enough of him. He was the strength that I needed. I don't know that I found that level of strength and recovery in anybody that was like going to my meetings. Didn't I I saw their recovery, I respected it, and I wanted what they had. It's not like, oh man, they don't have anything and he's got it great. I was drawn to him, and I was drawn to a few other handful of people on the Vision for You, a visionforyou.info. Great podcast. We did a whole recording here on 12 Step It Up on A Vision for You. I would just hang on to every word he said, and I wanted what he had. And all they talk about in the Vision for You is the big book. And that's when I just pretty much said, like, if they ain't talking about the big book, I think I'll probably pass on those meetings. Not that they're not valuable, not that they're useless. It's just my experience with those meetings back in my 40s for 3 years. The only thing I really got out of there was an experience to bring with me today, which is extremely valuable. And I just wanted to do it different this time. And, you know, um, all the times, in this whole thing about, you know, uh, the important idea behind this promise is that realities of drinking will reach not only the helpless, hopeless food addict, but also the high bottom one. So the high bottom food addict, maybe they're not hundreds of pounds overweight. Maybe they're 10 pounds overweight. Maybe they don't have diabetes yet. It's always yet. Maybe they don't have high blood pressure yet. Um, um, but I relate and I identify. If you are in pain and you are suffering, you are distracted by food, you are, food is robbing you of your life, you need relief. Every day you need relief from restlessness, irritability, and discontentment. And food always seems like the best idea. It doesn't matter where your bottom is, doesn't matter what floor you get off on the elevator. just get the hell off the elevator and come and be with us, because we go on all floors, because I've been on all the floors. My um, my experience can benefit others. I know what it's like to get off at the first floor, second floor. I know what it feels like to kind of go to the bottom, take it all the way, you know. Uh, so I get it. I get it. And like they say, nobody typically shows up at a 12-step meeting by mistake. Like if you kind of show up just out of curiosity, like what brought you to click on that? What brings you to that? Like there's something you see, and maybe God had you click on it, and it's time to pay attention and stick with the winners. I was sticking with the winners. It was Harlan and Laurie on A Vision for You. Who else? Who's that girl? I can't think of her name. I think I did this on the last recording. I was trying to think of her name, and I never thought of it. And here I am trying to think of it again. I can't remember. It's a woman that just has a very powerful. Maybe I'll get it, the name, and I'll put it on the next recording. But has a very strong recovery, and I remember going to the Vision for You convention that they had. There were like 1,000 people there, and Holland spoke on the stage, and Laurie spoke on the stage, and they did breakout groups, and it was great. It was just like, it was kind of like an OA convention, like Hollywood style. There was like flashing lights and everything, and it was just like, it was so much fun. I remember Leah, Leah, she introduces every special edition. She was kind of facilitating the whole conference thing. And she asked me if I wanted to be a part of a little skit. This was the opening skit. And what she envisioned was there would be a circle of people, 12 people sitting in a circle, women. And one of them was going to be Roseanne. Is it Roseanne or Roxanne that brought OA? I think it's Roseanne. She was the one with the idea that this could work for food. AA could work for food. I think her name is Roseanne. And I think that was like in the 50s that that OA was born. Anyway, she wanted this little scene to look like it was Roseanne getting her first few people together, these first women together. And so everybody went around the circle and read a step, but there was like, the whole room was dark and there was a spotlight just on the little group. So she asked me, I remember I read step 6. And I remember during rehearsal, she said, can you say it a little slower? I must have been like, I forget, oh my God, here I am drawing a blank with step 6. Came to believe that I could be relieved of my shortcomings. And I read it, I said it so fast, I think I was nervous. And she's like, you need to slow down, Lulu. I was like, oh, okay. So I knew when we went for like the big night, it was opening, and the spotlight comes on and we're all in the circle, and it came to my turn and I was just like, say it slow, Lulu, say it slow, say it to myself. And it was just the power and energy in that room, and everyone's hooting and hollering, and they had a DJ and the music's blasting. This is not a glum lot. Let me tell you, this is not a glum lot. And these people have such powerful. I remember sitting in front of me, in the row in front of me, I recognized the voice. It was Charles, who shares on that meeting all the time. And I recognize his voice, and he always introduces himself. Hi, my name is Charles and I eat too much. Like, he doesn't say I'm a compulsive overeater. He says, and I tapped him on the shoulder. I was like, are you Charles, the one that eats too much? He was like, yeah. And I was like, high fiving him. He has got such great recovery. And you know something? All of their experiences have benefited me. Brought me to that moment that I felt like I was in celebrity heaven. These people, they have no idea how they've changed my life. They just rocketed me they helped me rocket into the 4th dimension of existence. And that's what I have on the 4th promise. no matter how far down the scale of it got, this is not the scale like that we stand on and weigh ourselves. This is the scale of life. Like no matter how dark things look, no matter how pathetic I was, no matter how drunk I was, no matter how fat I was, no matter how I didn't fit in, no matter how, awful a person I was, all the different scales of like, no matter how far down I went, no matter how far down it took me, I will see how that benefits others. And that's what I got.
Thank you, Lulu. That was wonderful. Can I share a couple thoughts?
Yes.
Okay. That was so beautiful. Just thinking about my own experience coming in and hearing other people's experiences and how it benefited me, and especially my sponsors, how it was just so safe for me to share as we were getting to step 5, and really looking at my life under a microscope. My sponsor sharing her experience with me and her life with me made it a safe experience for me to share. And I hope that my sharing my experience with my sponsees makes it the same environment. And I just want to say how beautiful this program is, because I know that my past benefits others. And I would say that the newcomers present benefits me, and that it's such a beautiful thing. People come in various levels of pain, and they see the freedom, and so and they hear their story coming out of our mouths, and then they turn around and share, and their story is my past, so it's just kind of like this beautiful cycle of, that's where I was, I don't want to go back there, and let's see if we can get you out of that space too and move you to higher ground, which is such a beautiful thing, that it's just like, oh, I remember the pain. I need to hear that. I need to hear that pain. I need to hear that despair. And I need to hear it often. I go to meetings and I hear it, and I just go, oh yeah, oh, I remember. And then can I reach out to that person and say, oh, I remember. Let me share what happened to me and how I got out of it. What can I do to assist you? And so it's just this beautiful, like, I remember at the beginning of starting our big book meetings, how frustrated I was about, newcomers sharing their sad experience, and my sponsor just gently but lovingly saying, don't you see like the benefit of listening to that and hearing it? We need to hear that. I need to hear that. You need to hear that. And it was humbling, and just like, oh yeah, how do people get out of where they're at? We all share it. We all share where we're at, and then we can move forward together. Keep sharing, keep moving forward. And my past, I can honestly say, and I never thought I'd say this, but I can honestly say that I am so grateful to be a food addict. I am so very grateful for the pain that I experienced. I am so very grateful for the hell that I went through. And to just be able to turn around and see where God has moved me to, and for the opportunity to help others through. I'm just so grateful. Thank you so much for joining us today. Lulu, is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, just a quick thing about the despair and pain. I know I've shared this before. Despair and pain can energize us with an intensity to change that we don't normally possess. I just didn't possess that desire to change. The intensity wasn't there. It came with despair and pain and darkness. And that, when people share their despair and pain, oh, I really pray that they were sharing their success. It's not like I need to hear that. But when that's what you've got to say, that is your experience benefiting me. My experience benefits you. My past experience benefits me. My past experience, but it's just a what goes around comes around, kind of program that we all benefit from each other's experience. There's no ranking system. There's no, uh, you know, we all just have one day at a time. I used to think that was kind of like BS. I was like, oh, am I supposed to pretend like I'm not going to be abstinent next Tuesday? It's like, of course I am, but like, I don't know until I'm on Tuesday, you know, and I get that now.